Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. Today we're going to continue. This is Sunday Comics. Welcome to everybody, Sunday Comics, and we're going to continue with Project Pegasus. So, before we begin, I always filibuster a bit until people show up. Somebody sent me a comment that the, the, the mic isn't as good as it used to sound. So let me know. Is there a problem with my sound? Is everything okay? Let's see. Everything looks okay. Let's try that. So I see Zach Tan, you're in the audience. Is my sound okay? Somebody sent me a message that said my audio isn't as good as it used to be. I haven't changed anything. I just want to know, how do I sound? Do I sound good? Okay, because sound is so important. People will tune out if the sound is no good. People will pay attention if the visuals are a little off, but the sound is important. So, oh God, I can't even talk anymore. Okay, so we got Fund My Comic, Heroic Tales. That's what my comic book is. You know what? Let's take a look at my campaign. I I tried not to keep watching. Okay, I didn't even check my phone. I woke up, made some coffee, and started just to look through comics. I've been purposely avoiding. All right, we got another sale. Looks like I'm at the point in the campaign where I get like a sale a day, real close to getting to 3,000. Then I unlock the Mary Sue card. Let's see. Okay, this needs to be updated. We got the new art, and let's see. Okay, okay, all right. There's a couple. I'm gonna add the King Fu hoodie onto the campaign add-on, and I need to put the cover for uh, the cosplay cover. So there we go. There we go. All right. Wow, we got a couple people watching already. We got Zach Tan. Hope you're having a blessed Sunday. Me too. Oh, you too. Jeez, I slept really good last night. I was dead to the world. And let's take a sip of Tim Hortons coffee together. Everybody, 1, 2. Let's have some coffee together. We got Marcus. Speaking of Marcus, I got to show you guys this. Where is it? Where is it? Okay. So I have a story, like an absolute Steve Ditko question, Mr. A. If you love the character, it's an homage. If you don't like the comic character, it's a ripoff. But it's an homage to all the Steve Ditko detective characters. You know, uh, he's actually my player character. My friend Jimmy, who created the suit, Lucius Kane. He would run V&V every once in a while. He would run villains, vigilantes once in a while, and I made up 2 characters. I made up a good guy, and I made up a bad guy. My bad guy was the heavy hitter. I love playing the heavy hitter. He was just a jerk. It was just fun to play as a character and then play as a bad guy. But the thing about the heavy hitter is he thinks he's a superhero. He's just got dad, a man with dad issues. He's just mad at his father because his father left the used car sales lot to his younger brother because he's an f up. And his weakness is he's a gambling addict. So he just gambles everything away. So he operates in Vegas, and he gets into poker games. He's heavy in debt, and then he's becoming like a mafia enforcer. Such a fun character, the heavy hitter. But my good guy character was the Public Eye. So I will bring up the Public Eye, since you see what I'm talking about. And the Public Eye is one of those fedora wearing, truth seeking. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I would play him super autistic. Just like when I made him up, geez, 10, 15 years ago, I don't think this whole autism thing was a big deal. So he was really awkward. He was in his secret identity. He was an IT guy for a company, and he would just repair everybody's computers, and he loved it because he would sit in his office and he would go out and fix something and go back to his office. So he spent most of his time alone, and he's working on the grand conspiracy. So I thought this would be a good character to like explain a little bit about my world through this character. So uh I he in my game he has heightened intelligence, heightened agility. He has like a cosmic awareness sense and a weakness detection ability, and I think one other power, but I don't know if I want to give him powers. I think I want him to be like a non-powered investigative superhero. So his motto was seek truth, embrace reason, and he's the public eye. Why? Because he's a detective, but all the information he reveals is given to the world. Uh, he, when I made up this character, the internet was like YouTube and stuff like that was popular, but not the way it is today. So he was making all of his information and releasing it on YouTube, and the only person who basically believed him and thought he was Regina Lopez. That's how, and Regina Lopez is the reporter that is obsessed with the patriarch. So she was watching his and investigating who he is. You know, there's a big story about him, and of course, since he's inspired by Rorschach and the question, he speaks very, I don't know, cryptic. So I whenever I played him, I was in a one bedroom apartment in Queens. Jimmy would be, and it was one on one. Jimmy would run the game, and I would play the character, and I would talk like I would, because I get into role playing too, and Jimmy gets into role playing, and I get into role play. So one on one, you get a little shy when you're role playing a character, and there's a group of people, and they're not into it as much as you. So it was a fun. So I would just get fully like the method acted, and my wife would say, "I don't like you playing that character. You get weird." We were in a one bedroom apartment, so she would be sitting there, right in the living room. We'd be in the dining room on the table. And she was like, you get freaky when you play this character. There's a whole big thing. He's obsessed with hands and eyeballs. A whole backstory with his childhood and looking for his missing father, who, may or may not be this person that he focuses on. And that's everything. He's trying to find his dad. And it's a big conspiracy theory why his father's not there. I'm fascinated with this character, and I don't get to play him. But anyway, long story short, when I envision a character and a story, I kind of bring an art style in my head, and I was just like, this guy should be drawn by Marcus Kelligrew. I never thought of any other artist to draw this character, so I asked Marcus if he could, do his style, but like lean towards Ditko, and he not look at that. That is exactly how I pictured my character. That is it. That is perfect. That is excellent. So I can't wait. And originally I wanted it to be in black and white as an homage to Mr. A, but when I got Daniel and Oscar, working with me, it would be a shame. So I kind of want to color him like old pre-computer coloring style, So we'll see. We'll see. But there you go. So I don't have the script for him. I'm actually going to be working on it right after this. So we're as soon as I'm done with Sunday Comics, I have the rough draft. I have 2 stories that I'd like to tell with him. One of them is pretty much his last story, or is it? And another one is him stumbling across. Everything with him connects to the grand conspiracy. He is conspiracy theory, the superhero. So there you go. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Mark, and I don't know where he's going to fit in the grand scheme of thing of all, because I have to put out certain stories in a certain order so my grand story makes sense, and he's kind of going to be like a supplement to that. So I don't know where. Maybe it'll be like a stretch goal that I could put in another issue of Heroic Tales. I don't know yet, but it's not done yet. It's not even started yet. It's in the embryo stage, so it's time to plan that. And another thing is I have another character called the Sleeper Agent, and that story. I woke up last Wednesday with 2 fully formed stories in my head, and one of them was for the sleeper agent. And I'm like, oh my god, this should be drawn by Luke Stone. Like I just pictured it Luke Stone's art style because Luke Stone drew a Chrome Dog for I can't even think of his name now for jeez, Agent Zero he goes by on Twitter, but I can't think of his name. And that was good. It was good. And then now he's doing for R.J. Williams, Call Sign Orion, and he leveled up. It's really good. And when I woke up with this story for him, I'm like, that story is drawn by Luke Stone. It doesn't exist yet, but it's drawn by Luke Stone. So I offered him 2 of the fully, and he picked the one I wanted him to pick. So that's cool. And here's a funny thing: the second story, an artist just messaged me, and we talked. And without realizing it, his style was perfect for that story. So it's just everything is working out. Everything's working out. So that story is set in colonial America. And this is a guy that goes on YouTube and wears a tricorn hat. So, and then he comes out and messages me. So, geez, the world is working out. It's so bright out. I should be wearing shades. So let's. Oh wow, I've been focusing so much on. When I talk, I kind of look at my face to make sure that I'm emoting and stuff like that, and I avoid the chat. When I have a guest, I kind of focus on my guest's face, which is why I hate when I'm on a stream and the other person doesn't. If I'm on their channel, do whatever you want. You know what I mean? You're the boss. But you're on my channel, I want to see your face. I want to see, like, am I talking too much? You know what I mean? Am I boring you? Kind of things. I that's one of the things I do when I talk in conversation with you is I look at your face to try to see how is this going? You know what I mean? That's a conversational skill. Pay attention to who you're talking to. So Zach Dan already gave us the drive-by blessing, which is really strange how anxious I get when I don't get it now. Like I'm like, where's my blessing? Where's my blessing? We got Marcus. Marcus, I hope you heard that. I hope you were here to hear everything that I was talking about you. Old Dirty Fatty says hello all. And again, let me know if the audio sounds good because somebody told me the audio sounds. Oh, Marcus is already on it. Sounds fine. Okay. I sound okay. Great. Everybody's saying hello to each other. I love everybody. Oh, cool. Crenshaw is taking pictures today. He's sending me nudes. No, Crenshaw, I sent him a Patriarch shirt. It's funny because Crenshaw was, he said that his sister or sister-in-law, I forget who's not a comic book person at all, she was looking at something on YouTube, and the algorithm sent her my comic of with the Patriarch, and she was like, "Hey, this guy looks like you." And then we started. So I sent him a T-shirt, and he's gonna take some action poses, and he's gonna be the cosplay cover for the other side of the Martina Marcota cover. So there we go. Not finished drawing, by the way. Oh yes. It's not a finished drawing. Yes, absolutely. This is a rough sketch. This is what Marcus sent me for approval, and he sent me another drawing that technically did everything I asked him to do, but it's just funny how my language and image in my head didn't match up with the proper language. Like and I'll bring that up. What did I just do? Oh, you remind me to bring that up. I want to talk about that for a second. Okay, how that's good. But Marcus, he drew exactly what I asked him to draw, but but it wasn't the picture in my head, and that's a big thing when role playing is, when you're describing a scene, what the player is thinking and what you're thinking, there could be different pictures. So every once in a while, that could be, that's like the biggest source of arguments in comic books. Like, what do you mean I can't do that? I mean, when role playing, what do you mean I can't do that? I'm right over here, and then you realize, oh, and at work with my foremans, it's my biggest pet peeves. The foreman would come over and he'd be like, "Okay, John, I want you to take this pipe," and they literally make these sounds with it, and over here, and then you leave, and you're like, okay, but there's 30 different paths that I could go by, and then you make it, and they're like, no. So one of the things I do is the foreman lays out work for me. I repeat that work out, so he knows what I'm. Most foremen appreciate what I'm doing. Every once in a while, you get a foreman like, yeah, and walks away. So that way, when I do it, I'm like, I repeated it to you. I repeated exactly what is, because sometimes you do have a disagreement with the format. That's not what I told you. It's exactly what you told me to do. You have to use precise language. And I'm learning as a scriptwriter to use more precise language. And the fact that Renzo and Oscar, English is a second language, I got to be more and more precise. And there's a few times when miscommunication made it a lot better. And you know what? I'll just bring that up now, because it's not what I asked him to draw, but it's better than what I asked. So this is Renzo's sketch for page 8 in Heroic Tales. I'll make that even bigger. So the patriarch is below the earth, searching for little Tommy Martin Lipke, and technically that monster is what I asked him to draw, but it's not what I asked him to draw. You know what I mean? It fits every word. It's a perfect example of like Lovecraft, when two people describe Shoggoths completely different. Two people describe Bayekis completely different. It's the only creature everybody seems to get right is the deep one, but that creature in the middle, that's outstanding. But that's nothing what I described. But you know what? Who cares? That is awesome. That is absolutely awesome. So there we go. Oh, what's going on? Okay. What's going on? There we go. Yeah, you think I know StreamYard by now. So there you go. So like Marcus said, his drawing, it's still a sketch. It's still a sketch, but I love that sketch. The only thing is the radial lines for the iris is the only thing. And to me, it's a finished pencil. It's not inked, but it's, yeah. Hey, John A. Douglas is here. Good morning. Good morning. Autistic types have a problem with making sense of people. Love it when they see a problem they can solve. Yeah, that's, and like I said, this was like 15 years ago. I literally haven't role played as the public eye in 14 years. I think I just used them like 3 or 4 sessions, and it was a lot of fun. The first time we played, Jimmy didn't realize how powerful the public eye was. Like when you have heightened intelligence, heightened agility, and then like a weakness you get like a plus 15, 16 to hit on a die 20. So I was just like lobbing people. He was just like the ultimate hand-to-hand brawler. So he cleverly made up in the second time we played a guy with like flame powers. So you didn't want to hit him. You hit him, you burnt yourself. So that was a cool problem to solve. That's why I love V&V. There's always a counter to, you could be the most powerful physical being, then you fight the red ghost. Then what are you going to do? You have to work around things. It's such a fun game. That's one of the reasons why I'm always thinking like, what would counter that power? What would counter that power? And somebody sent me a long email about countering powers that I want to make a video about. That is such a great, this guy sent me 2 emails, and both of them are video, but I haven't done it yet because I want to have do these well thought out letters justice. I've really broadened the definition of autistic and neurodivergent. I know some people who are greatly affected by it. Yes. And there's also people with quirky personalities who adopt, I'm neurodivergent as a badge. And they're like, look at me. Like, it's one of my pet peeves. Like you've heard me say like, I'm not OCD, and but I hate when people go like, oh, my OCD is kicking in. And they act like it's like a gift rather than like a hindrance. It's just one of my pet peeves. It's like stolen valor. Guys who claim to be in the middle. It's people who claim they're neurodivergent when they're just either an asshole or they got a quirky personality. Great, thanks. Is there a YouTube in Heroic Tales universe or a world specific? Assume everything's the same unless I say it's different. So yeah, why wouldn't there be a YouTube? I don't know if I could call it YouTube. That's one of the things I love about comics is when they come up with their own brand names for things. Like I don't know why this just makes me laugh, but there's a soda company in Heroic Tales called Kami Cola. I'm kind of goofing on Ben and Jerry's, so the Kami Cola, but of course it's Kami Cola. The CEOs make a bunch of money and the workers make crap, but it's Kami Cola, and it's it's got a red label with yellow writing. I don't know. It just makes me laugh. While I don't want to minimize the situation of people less affected, I don't think it's helpful to put them. Yeah, yeah. Like RFK was talking about autism, and then everybody's like, I pay taxes. I have a job. He's not talking about. He's talking about like my nephew. He's talking about my buddy Jeff's got two fully adult autistic kids, and it's mean, but he says it too. He goes, it's like living in that movie Battle of the Gargantuas. They have like 4-year-old mentalities, but they're like 6'1", 6'2", and I feel bad saying this stuff, but he doesn't invite people over because they fight and they're knocking holes in the sheetrock. He says he comes home from work. Poor guy comes home from work and he has to like start sheetrocking and and everything like that. And then the next day the couch is broken. He says like they'll never adjust. So he got the oldest one in a group home, and he says he's doing really good because he and his wife, they're not pros, and kids react differently to parents than they do. How many of you like the teacher's like, oh, the kid, your child is a dream, and you're like, my child is a terror at home, but at school they behave. So now he's in a group home, and another thing is the daughter. She's like 19 years old, and she has the mentality of like a 4-year-old, but she's built like a adult woman, and she'll go outside, and guys will be like, hey, how you doing? And she'll follow him. You know what I mean? So this is, I hate to say it, but this girl is like curvy and everything like that, but with a child's mind. And there's pervs in this world, and it's and then the son wants to pet every dog and everything like that, and the dogs are trying to attack him, and he doesn't understand. It's sad. That's what RFK Jr. was talking about, and everybody's like, well, I'm autistic and I pay taxes, and that's like the average woman is 5'6", and the woman's I'm 5'8", so we're not talking. We're talking about the average, things like that. Anyway, I digress. Heroic Tales 2. What Geeks Do, everybody? How you doing? And I have to remind everybody, What Geeks Do made the John's Long Box. He made that for me. I love that. Love that so much. I'm going to Charlotte Comic Con in Concord, New Jersey. I named to get out of the house. Oh, I need to get out of the house. Yeah, I understand that. Why does the audio sound like that? See, somebody's saying that the audio sounds bad, and other people saying the audio sounds good. Here's another. Let me. Does the audio sound bad? Let me know. Because other people saying it sounds good, other people telling me it sounds bad. I don't know what to do. So please let me know. I did expect the first design to hit away. I do like that first design. That kind of is giving me an idea. Pete Rock. Hey, my buddy Pete. Never occurs to me. He lives near Science. Actually, he lives hundreds of miles, but he lives close to Science City. He lives in the same state as Science City. It never occurred to me till this moment. Is Heroic Tales set in 2025? It says the date right on the first page. Issue 1 was July 16th, 2024. It's the first caption in the book. And the second issue is 24 hours later. So that's one of the things I'm going to actually put the dates on every issue, because I'm not doing monthly. When you do a monthly Fantastic Four, the time has to be wonky. Like if you compress all the Fantastic Four history, it's not 40 years. Because why didn't the characters age? John Byrne used to say it's about 7 years. So, but I'm not doing monthly, so I could afford to, just put a timestamp and everything. What we used to call good engineers, we now call autistic. Yes. We used to say anal retentive. Like that's the word. I'm anal retentive about stuff. Other stuff I could give two craps about, but that doesn't mean I'm AC/DC. That doesn't mean I'm AC/DC. It means I'm Led Zeppelin. Ben Spark, voice actor. Good morning. Good to see you, Ben. Good to see you. You're big time now. I need a mic upgrade. You might be right. Does it sound good? Does it sound bad? Yeah. You're probably right about that mic. I bought a mic and it was garbage. So does anybody have a recommendation for a mic? You're absolutely right. If people are saying stuff like that, then you're probably right. Where is anybody got a recommendation for a mic? It's set in 2025, but their 2025 correlates to 1949 because Jesus Christ was born early in this world. No, that's not true. Oh, yeah, okay. Science City is built retro style because Philip Manning designed it that way. The whole city was built. They broke ground in the year 2000, and it's designed to be like the perfect American wholesome big city life. In the Patriarch #1, I was just talking to Renzo. I think I want to have like a travel brochure. The last couple of pages, we'll have like a map on top and then a double page spread broken into long slice panels, like come to Science City and witness this and witness that. So there you go. Yep. Yeah. Pete was there when I had like 100. Pete's one of the originals. Yep. Stippling, I was just talking about you. Lots of people talk about Yeti bikes. Yeah. And yeah. Looks like I gotta get a mic. So let me know if the audio sounds bad. Let me see if I could audio everything. Okay, I just changed the setting. Does this sound better? Anybody? I'll talk for a minute or two. Anybody? I just changed the setting. Does this sound better? Testing. 1, 2. Take a sip of coffee, and then I'll begin the comic. Anybody? I'm gonna put it back because maybe people can't hear me. It sounds worse. It sounds worse. Okay. Audio. Okay, this is better. Yeah, I think I'll get a mic. I'll talk. If anybody has a mic recommendation, I put it back to the default. Okay. I call people who like to pretend they have my particular mental emotional issues tourists. Yes, it's fun to visit, but you don't want to live there. Yes. May I ask what your issue is? I mean, I'm just curious. But I got autistic people in my family. They're never gonna adjust. They're never gonna, they hate to say it because they're loved, but they're never going to be able to take care of themselves, and like I said, I'm sure if I was born, in 2005 with the behaviors that I displayed as a kid, I would be labeled autistic and, whatever, people would be like, oh, he's autistic. But my dad beat me until I became normal. But like I said, I used to sit and rock back and forth. Like, I think of it now, and it must have been so creepy to watch me as a kid. Like, you can't observe yourself, but I would sit and just rock back and forth while I watch TV, just like this. I would do it straightforward, but I don't want to hit this camera. And I would just sit there like that, and I would organize stuff and put it down, pick it up and organize it and make sure everything, I would play with all my toys. And when I was done, I had to like certain orders and things. Like I had these weird behavior. Like if you put a t-shirt on me and it had a label on the back, like this shirt does now, I was like, I couldn't move. Like I was playing freeze tag until somebody came and ripped that tag off. It was a good way to get me to behave, but like I would rock back and forth. Just a lot of weird, creepy behaviors. But that had a stick cured my behavior. But if it was autism and it was organic in my brain, you can't fix that. You know what I mean? But anyway, Alex Johnson says I could relate. So it's just one of my pet peeves when people, like, there's a word for stolen gravitas, stolen valor. All these people just want to be special. Like, I'm non-binary, non-masculine, they, autistic, neurodivergent. It's like, shut up. Everybody's something. We're individuals, and no two people are the same. But you want. Is anybody fans of the band The Descendants? Anybody know the band The Descendants, the old California punk band? I want to be classified. I want to be labeled. I want to be classified. I want a suburban home. So anyway, let's get this. I've been talking for a half hour. So Marvel 2 in 1, Thing and Deathlock. You can see Perez and Austin. Just George Perez, Terry Austin. I love John Byrne. I do love John Byrne. I want to marry him. But I love John Byrne. But I love George Perez and Terry Austin. Terry Austin is my favorite inker of all time. Probably my second favorite inker is Joe Sinnott. I know Marcus is probably the other way around. And then I'm trying to think like Pablo Marcos and things like that. But anyway, let's get back. So we got Deathlock. And as you can see, this is all the different panels over here. You saw my Mary Sue cover. We have the split. I suggested that to Renzo. He goes, "What do you want for a couple?" Because for the first issue of the Patriarch, Heroic Tales, I just told Renzo, "Do whatever you want. I trust you. Do whatever you want and surprise me." And he made that cover, which I love. For this one, he was just like, he knew that I was doing two covers, one for Mary Sue and one for the Patriarch. The Patriarch one, he was just like, "I got an idea." He just did a rough. I was like, "Yeah, go with that." But the Mary Sue one, he goes, "What do you want? What do you want to do?" And I was like, "How about like Fantastic Four 202 with it?" And he goes, "I got it." That's all I said, and he did that cover, and I freaking love that cover. It's so good, so good. Jose Garcia for the variant cover, and Josh Howard. I pretty much told him exactly what to do, But Renzo has the script. They were working on a commission. They didn't even read the script, so I told them with how to pose everything. But anyway, we got Deathlock over here. Deathlock showed up in the last panel or the last page of the last comic. So Ben Grimm, the Thing, he went to Project Pegasus to check up on his his ward, the kid that he feels protective over, Wondar. Now Wondar is not a kid, he's an adult, but he has the mind of a child, like an infant. Can't express himself, wandering around, has no language capabilities, just basic needs met. He'll cry when he's hungry, kind of, so like a full grown infant. And Wonder has the ability to shut off all energy. So when you get near him, the closer you get to him, the weaker you become as far as your super abilities. Even light turns off, so he's always in the dark. So Ben, being a big softy, feels protective of him. They put him in Project Pegasus, and Project Pegasus is a government shield, super secret, organized scientific endeavor to find alternate energy sources. And one of the main things that they're exploiting is the cosmic cube and secondary supervillains who generate energy. Where does this energy come from? Can we replicate it? Things like that. So there we go. All right. From this point on, at the procedure, I'll talk about the pages, then I'll do the comments. So Zachtan says, "What has Deathlock done to our boy Benji?" Well, tune in and find out. That other mic setting was better. How you used to sound see? People are telling me I sounded better there, and I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. The Aquarian, yes. Wondar became the Aquarian later on. It's just Wondar. There are no bad characters, just bad stories. And then there's Wondar. They got to come up with a better name. There's a reason why they don't use him too much. They got to come up. That'll be a fun project. Let's come up with a better name than Wondar or the Aquarian. All right, so let's open this up. Neither mic setting sounds optional. So yeah, that sounds like I gotta get a mic, which begs the question: where am I gonna plug it in? My computer is all. I have to take out my mouse or my keyboard. This is gonna be rough. Okay, we'll have to figure something out. All right. So Project Pegasus, Blood and Bionics. So here we got Deathlock over here. Project Pegasus Part 2. Nuts. I'm going to wind up playing solitaire if I can't find a few poker partners in this dump, you know. And then this, I think this is the original Deathlock, Luther Manning. No. This is the second Deathlock. Luther Manning is set in an alternate future. That's right. So this has got to be Michael Carter, the second Deathlock. So the first one was created by Rich Buckler, set in the future. Luther Manning was a military guy who was basically killed in combat. They used cybernetics to turn his brain back on, and lo and behold, his personality started to override the computer protocols, and he rebelled against the manufacturers. And then RoboCop was later ripped off from that. Like, there's no way the RoboCop people didn't read Rich Buckler's story, you know. So there you go. Now Michael Carter, it's the same thing except it's set in the Marvel 616. And it drives me nuts when the movies say 616, because no, the movies can't be 616 and the comics are 616. They have to come up with another number, you know. But that's me being a weirdo again. All right, so let's check this out. I'll adjust the comments and then I'll turn the page. Shirts for $4.99. Take me back in time. I know. Look at that. $4.99 for these shirts. Did anybody not only have it? Did anybody have any of these shirts? Did anybody watch Battlestar Galactica, the original one? I loved it. Steve Gerber created Wondar as a Superman character if he came to Marvel Earth. Really? I did not know that. What was his first appearance? What was Wondar's first appearance? And I didn't know that. Did he have superpowers? Like, because all I know is that he could turn things off. He could turn off energy. I didn't know that. Marcus for the win. So we got Bashful. I just realized they don't have the... Oh, here's the credits. Duh. Mark Gruenwald, Ralph Macchio, writers. John Byrne and Joe Sinnott, artists. Oh, my God. Look at this comic. It's got George Perez, Terry Austin on the cover. It's got John Byrne, Joe Sinnott in the interiors. George Costanza, Serenity Now, on the letters. And Bob Sharon colors. Stern and Shooter editors. So, you know, Roger Stern is the group editor, and Jim Shooter, I guess, is the big honcho. The honcho. Surprised nobody has a character named Honcho. So he's just looking for a poker game, and boom, he fires. And Ben is completely taken by surprise. So in D&D terms, he failed his detect danger roll, and he is... I love, like, this little touch. He's touching the nozzle. Like, I can't believe it. Deathlock. And he wounded me. I'm bleeding. Look at that. So the laser penetrated Ben's hide, and now Ben is pissed. Look at that. I love that face. Just the whole lead in the shoulder. And you know what's coming up? A haymaker. A haymaker is coming up. Ain't nobody's ever done that to me before, and there ain't nobody who's going to get away with it. Give me that pop gun, you computerized crumb bomb. Ben's pissed. He's bringing out the verbiage now. He's calling him a crumb bomb. Or so help me, I'll take it from you, along with that blasted hunk of wires you call a hand. Now hold on right there. We're going to have a discussion, and the answers better be good. And now, one of the things that Deathlock does is he has two different word balloons. The regular word balloons means you have a regular voice, of regular way of speak, but then he's got squared off. The only other character that I could think of quickly is the Vision, and then the Vision's word balloons are also colored yellow, which means he has a real different sounding voice. I love that. I love that kind of stuff when the word balloons give you more than just the information of the dialogue. So this is, discussion. It is for big organisms, and this unit is no longer containing a single cell of living matter. Holy Joe, he ain't kidding. Somebody lobotomized the poor sucker. So what he's saying is there's no organic matter in this. I never picked that up. So this is no longer Michael Carter. I got somebody's lobotomized the poor sucker. So they're saying that the human part of Deathlock has been expurged. Well, I caught napping here while I was staring at his ugly kisser. Zaktan says, Ben going out all out on this violent, re-abled person. Yeah. So Deathlock is basically the Terminator and RoboCop mixed into one. Giant sailplane, $3.99. $2.99 for a float that looks like freeze pops. I don't know why I find that funny. I amuse myself. So Ben is on the ground. Boom. Hey, this ain't going to be easy. I'm weaker than I thought, getting dizzy. But I can't. Observation. Loss of circulatory fluid causing enemies collapse. Deploy auxiliary maser. Energize. So Ben was caught by surprise. He got shot in the arm, and he's bleeding out. Aim for cerebral cortex. Power building. 10 seconds to fire. Come on, Benji. Get up or you're a dead man. So right now, Deathlock has no soul. He has no consciousness. Well, conscious. He has no conscience. So he's just computerized efficiency right now. This is the best way to take out Ben Grimm. He figured out he could penetrate Ben's flesh, and he's setting maximum, and he's aiming right where he could. If he could penetrate the flesh, go right for the brain. So Ben is just like, I'm going to die. And dun, dun, dun. Warning, Pegasus guards approach. Abort, attack, and take evasive action. Come on, Mr. Grimm, we're coming. Quasar, I hear you. Retreat. Come back here, you yellow belly. I ain't done with you yet. So look at Ben. He's rolling around on the ground, literally bleeding out. Now, in a more modern comic, there would be blood all over the place, But I think some blood on the ground would increase drama. I don't think a lot of, overabundant Martin Scorsese blood, yeah. But if this was me, I would have had blood just to show how bad it is. I mean, he got shot in the arm. But, I have a critical hit system in my role-playing game, and sometimes, somebody will grab, and, how could that be a critical hit? They only hit me in the hand. It's like, okay, they sliced an artery. It's, people slice their wrists and die out. Oh, okay. Just a little bit of description. They're telling us, this is a little bit of tell, not show, or it should be show, not tell. So now the guards are carrying Ben off, and go after him. Go after him. What are you doing? What are you doing? You're standing here. He's only right here. How much time could pass in a panel? Which brings me to a point that I haven't talked about in a long time is, you read a comic in a classic Z form, but you also read a panel in a Z form. Obviously, inside this panel, it's not just a frozen moment of time. Inside the panel, there's time. Because if everything happened at once, these two word balloons would be on top of each other. So we have time for Ben to say all of this, and we have time for Quasar to respond. So obviously, there's more than just an instance of time, which is why I will accept dialogue in the middle of a combat. A guy's going to throw a punch. Why? Because we're not just looking at, but it's a comic book. It's one of those weird things that only exist in comic books. Each panel is to be read in Z, and time travels in a Z. So time is over here, and time is over here. You know what I mean? So this obviously happens before that. So there is time in a panel. That's one of the things, you need to think about when making a comic. Oh, Zaktan is leaving, going to church. Okay. Wondar debuted in Adventures into Fear 17 in a Man-Thing story. Okay, I have those. I haven't read them yet. Now I got to pick them out. And now I got to realize, did I put them under M for Man-Thing, or did I put them into A for Adventures in Fear, or did I put it under F for Fear? We must capture him at all costs. His presence threatens the entire project. So what is he doing? He sensors activated portal has sealed off corridor. Correction, titanium steel, thickness 1.3 meters. Adjusting maser accordingly. Obstacle eliminated. So he is using his maser, and it's melting this. Now, point of order, because I'm a lunatic, a maser is a matter amplified something as ER. So it's matter. To me, a maser would be more like a power blast, whereas a laser would cut and then heat vision would melt. Like a laser is just amplified light that breaks the molecular bonds. So I don't think a laser would be particularly hot. I think a maser, maybe it would be hot. I don't know, but to me, it's amplified matter particles. So it's like blasting somebody with neutrons. To me, it would be like getting hit by a hammer, like Cyclops. His concussive blasts from his eye beam. To me, those would be masers, and then heat vision is just heat. So I'm a nut job. This is the kind of stuff I think of. But this works. It's called a maser. Like the lightsabers. The lightsabers in Star Wars, those are plasma. You know what I mean? Those are plasma. So just think of the power source inside that thing. It's like incredibly advanced, and that's why that's why it's plasma contained within a magnetic field. Otherwise, the plasma would just dissipate. So it's that magnetic. Remember when they were sealed in the trash pit, and she said this is magnetically sealed, and the bolt flew around. That's the property of the lightsaber that deflects the blasts, and then the plasma itself is what allowed Gi-Kon to melt everything. So like when you get cut by a lightsaber, I imagine like that guy in the bar that Ben cut his arm off. That guy didn't bleed to death because the plasma also cauterized him. Which is pretty nasty because like, can you reattach? Like if I was to laser off your arm, I imagine it would be such a clean. It wouldn't be cauterized. You'd be bleeding out, but it could be reattached. But if I took a lightsaber and cut your arm off, they would have to chop off the burnt cauterized portions to reattach. This is the kind of stuff that I think of. This is the stupid stuff that I think of. So he's searching through here. What does he look? Once the human figure moves swiftly in obedience to his voice and computerized brain, where Wundar lies in the throes of autistic withdrawal. Wow. Look, I didn't hear autistic withdrawal. So they're outright saying that Wundar is like severely autistic. There you go. Welcome to John's Lone Box Sunday Comics, brought to you by Autism Awareness episode. So whatever voices the young alien hears in his tortured mind go unidentified for now. Now keep in mind, like back then, autistic was for super severe cases. Like it was synonymous with saying retarded. Now we know that there's a difference. Some words we don't like. Some but back then, to call somebody autistic. What year is this? 1979. That was basically saying you were a basket case. So he's now going through. Meanwhile, the cyborg warrior from the alternate future. Oh, so this is Luther Manning. Okay, this is Luther Manning from an alternate future. Because they made one that was Michael Carter for this. So this is the original Deathlock. He goes through one of the Project Pegasus many utility shafts to the level nicknamed the Pit. High radiation area, chance of human entry low, and he starts remove components from magnetic backpack and commence construction with his projector, highest priority. So he's doing some crazy nonsense. He's down below. He doesn't want to be contacted by humans, so he could operate the sinister magic science device all on his own. I finally got a fix with energy's progress. My energy responds. He won't give it. So this begs the question: what could Quasar do? And the answer is whatever he wants. He's got one of those plot powers. So he's got these alien quantum bands. We talked about his origin last week, but just to drive it home, he's Marvel's version of Green Lantern. He can make energy constructs. He can fly. He could do whatever is needed to do. So the energy, to me, it's like he could create, disperse, and detect energy. That to me would describe Quasar's powers the most. And then you get creative with what I just said, making constructs, use that energy to fly, use that energy to supplement your strength and things like that. Make a shield. So now he's running down here. They found him by the radiation. Deathlock. I'll only say this once. Show yourself and surrender. Entry by designated Quasar, Project Security Chief. Quasar is vastly powerful. So let's check out the comments. Resist. Is this the Baxter building with these high radiation material? No, this is deep within Project Pegasus, which is they showed a map last issue. It's in the mountains upstate New York, and it's like drilled into the Adirondack Mountains. So this is way in the heart of a mountain, probably below the earth. If someone asked me, I would have said a maser is a boy laser. There you go. It's a boy band laser. Some parts of our bodies can degenerate. I was going to make a dirty joke, but I will save it. So here we got some ads. Our best movie project. I say this every time I see this ad. I just love this. First off, her body is coming off the screen, which drives me nuts. It's not a hologram projector. It's a 2D. But let's watch girly flicks. You get a home. I got 8mm, Bob. Come on over. You bring the chips. I got the cigars. We're gonna watch some girly flicks, or as they called them back then, stag films. We're gonna watch some stag films. How's that for an oldie Oldison reference? Anybody even hear that term before? The Adventures of Grit Boy. A stag film. Man, that takes me back. That was like old when I was a kid. Secrecy of nth projector of primary importance. So the nth projector is what he's setting up. He throws a knife at Quasar. Quasar uses his energy to deflect. Whoa, he had that aimed right for my throat if I had been slower. So Deathlock ain't playing around. He's going for murder kills. He's going for death strikes. He's got this panel. I've always remembered this panel. I don't know why. This panel I've always liked. So he throws his hand up. In my mind, I'm filling up. Like when we cross this white line over here, I know I went over this before, but this white line is called the gutter. And these are similar to animation stills, but not really, because it's comic books and film are different mediums. But there's, I'm trying to explain. So we look at, again, we go through in a Z pattern. So I look at this. The next panel, time jumps a little bit. The knife is being thrown. Time jumps a little bit. And I picture he throws his arm up, and then I just picture he puts his other arm out in the gutter and then starts to fly. You know what I mean? Like my mind is filling in the missing information because it's perfect storytelling. It's going. So I'm finishing the choreography, and I did that as a kid without thinking about it. Now I'm thinking about it because I'm talking about it. But does anybody get what I'm saying? So he puts the hand up, and then in the missing part, he puts his left hand up, and then that momentum just brings him in. Me, it's just beautiful. And then he's blasting. He comes over here, and now we do a perfect 180. So Deathlock is facing this way, and the camera, for lack of a better term, we should probably say the eye, you know what I mean? Because there is no camera, but the eye turns, so we see him, which means that Marvel Boy, or Quasar rather, has to be over here. And it's perfect. Now, the only thing is I would have this hand extended a little bit more, but that works, Situation critical. Tactic shift is necessary. And now, because the storytelling is so good, we know that if the eye was to pull back, I'm going to say eye for now on, because camera, there is no camera. So the eye pulls back. We know that it would be Quasar's back. And then we take that image. So I can't move my hands around. So, but okay. So Quasar, Deathlock is facing this way. We know this. And then we turn it around. We got Deathlock over here. This is perfect comic book choreography. It everything is matched up. Like John Byrne is a master. Everything works. There's no disconnects, because if the next panel was Deathlock and them facing each other, it would just cause dissonance in the brain. Like, to quote Red Letter Media, your brain would know. Like you might not be able to explain it, but your brain would pick it up, and it would cause a little bit of confusion. And that's one of the things you do not want to do, is you do not want to cause confusion in your reader. You want them to be immersed in the story. You want it to flow. And I hate that I say this all the time, but I always bring up poor Howard Chaykin, who I actually like. But his storytelling is so disjointed. It's so confused. I don't want to do it, but I probably will at some point is take out an American flag comic and go through it. Maybe I'll do American flag #1. I don't know if I did it or not. It's been so long, and go through why it's a problem. But I try not to be negative, but I still love the comic. I still love Howard Chaykin's work. But maybe I could use it to illustrate a point, which I don't really have that much of a problem with. So here we got, he's blasting, and I love the light source over here. We got the shadow over here. His whole, it's just so good. Coordinates set for neuro pellet release. Time of impact. I'm going to say something to you guys that's going to stay with you for the rest of your life. In comics, in Marvel Comics, from Fantastic Four #1 to I'll say about 1980, they disproportionately use the word pellet. It's just something I noticed. So just think about that when you read older comics from 1980, going back to the Fantastic Four, which is 1962. Just notice how much the word pellet shows up. It's just a word you don't get to use a lot, but he's throwing pellets. He's blanking out, and almost before he notices them, the tiny pellets, see, there's twice now, pellet, erupt, enveloping the hovering superhero in a cloud of mind-numbing gas. So now, this is just, he should have had a force field around him. Because he could easily protect him. He could fly in space. He could easily protect himself from environments, but he didn't. Lungs are on fire. I must cough. Stay conscious. Can't fail the project. Exploration. Extrapolation. I can't even say extrapolation. Extrapolation. Barring unforeseen circumstances, enemy's termination is imminent. Dun dun dun. Dun dun. We all know what's going to happen, right? So he's got the gun. He's going for poor Quasar's noggin. We all know what's going to happen, right? Poor Wendell. Bye-bye, Wendell. Oh, no. It's perfect use of the ads. Oh, my God. That is just perfect. You get what I'm saying? Like, this is increasing. They know that they got to put ads in the comic. It's a matter of economics. But look at that. That page turn. What's going on? What's going on? Now, it's the poor ad. You're going to just flip through it because you want to get to it. But did everybody feel that tension? And then we got an ad. We're like, oh, perfect cliffhanger. That would have been this is a perfect place to do a commercial break if it was on TV. I don't see any comments. Am I still live? Is there a problem? Can anybody hear me? Usually there's comments. So we got the Mego superhero dolls. Drives me nuts. Boys don't want to play with dolls. These are action figures. Okay? I never had Mego dolls. I had Mego action figures. Okay? Mattel Hot Wheels, Captain America car, yo-yos, but Duncan yo-yos. Do they still make yo-yos? I haven't seen a yo-yo. The kids want yo-yos. And these, invading the Micronauts, alien creatures with brains that glow in the dark. Yeah, that's what I want. I want a toy whose brain glows in the dark. We got Repto, Membros, Antron. Now, I loved the Micronauts as a kid. Oh my God, that I loved the Micronauts as a kid, but I stopped getting them before these came out. So I never got these the World of the, and to be honest, they don't fit in with my concept of the Micronauts. So I always wondered with these different toys that were just folded into the Micronauts. Like in Japan, did they have their own something, and then we just made them Micronauts and packaged them as Micronauts because they were called Micromen in Japan. So before, okay, here, yeah. So okay, good. I just saw when the comment stopped. I just wondered that maybe there was a problem. Dale, ads and hints to floppies. I can't prove you wrong. I don't want to prove you wrong. You're absolutely 100% right. Then boom. We all thought it was going to be Benji, but it was him. He was able to put up the shields in time. Whew, barely able to erect a photonic shield in time, but can't maintain it for too long. Gas made me too woozy. Enemy weakness. Press attack. So maybe I could send out a stream of energy in the radio spectrum. It'll scramble his circuits enough to give me a breather. If not, I've had it. So he's just using. So he could do whatever in the electromagnetic spectrum, which is vastly powerful. So he could send out lightning bolts, he could send out cosmic rays, X-rays, and then, but what energy is solid? You know what I mean? That's I almost gave a spoiler for Mary Sue, but I mentioned it before, but it's in the comic. We'll find out. But that's why I created what I created in Heroic Tales 2, to answer this kind of stuff. There is the electromagnetic spectrum, but none of them make solid energy. That's the other spectrum. Dun dun dun. So he's blinded by radio waves. He's blinded by the light, revved up like a deuce, like a runner in the night. Danger, confusion, logical synapses, erase preview programming, enemies liquidation arrives. So he kind of scrambled his circuits. Deathlock, if there's a shred of humanity in you, listen. Humanity is a meaningless concept. This unit is now totally automated, programmed to kill. Says you. Dun dun dun. Here comes Ben. And I love that they addressing his previous wound. They made a big deal about the wound, so you gotta commit to the bit. And that creates a little bit of tension, a little bit of drama. Now Ben has got his arm in a sling. Now the only thing is, it's on the wrong side, right? The sling should be on this side of his neck. If it's over here, how does it stay on? Yeah. Yep, that's a mistake right there. A little art mistake. And now, if this panel came out now and it was a crowdfunded comic, all the amateur artists would be pointing out, laughing at it, telling you not to back it, telling you not to support it, that these guys are tourists and grifters and blah, 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 because there was not. But back then, we just, oh, okay, and went on. Because nowadays, everybody's a critic. The internet has elevated everybody into an art critic. Now, yeah, this is worth saying. You made a mistake, and then you move on. You know what I mean? Okay, but now, don't back him. He's a grifter. Everything's a failure. Everything sucks. My guy is the best guy. Your guy is an idiot. Blah blah blah. It's like that South Park episode with everybody's a Yelper. Yelp made everybody a restaurant critic. But so Ben picks up Deathlock and tosses him away. I'll slap your wrist, Buttercup, if you hadn't. Now, in this panel, you can see what I'm talking about. Like this was missing over here. Maybe it got mixed up in the maybe the colorist just missed it, but I don't see. But you see how the sling has to have two sides for it to work as a cradle. So Deathlock is using his two broken hands. So Ben grabbed his hand, crushed it, threw it. So now Deathlock's got no hand. So what does he do? Shakaroony. Pretty sneaky, ain't you? I got a good mind to stick those stumps in your ears. I can handle this now, Mr. Grimm. You are defeated. Accept that and surrender. Remember, we talked about that last week. Quasar is a defender, a protector, rather than an aggressive hero. That's what saved his life. When you put on those quantum bands, if you are aggressive, the bands have a circuit breaker. They overload and kill you. He was only allowed to use the bands. The bands registered him as a defender, a protector, not an aggressor, and the bands accepted him. So, they got to keep that personality going. And now we got free super shot vet. So we got a Corvette car, the Porsche Turbo, the Ferrari Boxer, the Datsun 28Z. Corvette Stingray, custom California van, and a 55 heavy Chevy. Hot rods. Did anybody play with Matchbox cars as a kid? I had them, and I would race them, but I wasn't really a Matchbox car kid. Meanwhile, back at the bullpen. Okay, so this is funny. I forgot this was even in here. Who drew this? It's got a signature down here. I can't tell who drew this, but this is a goofy at Marvel. Leave Marvel Comics. Don't. So this is an ad for Marvel Comics, but I forgot about this. This is so funny. Oh, I gotta stop the cam. I gotta stop the extra camera and Extra camera, bring it back to fix the focus. Sorry about that. But here we got, hi there, do you know me? I'm the editor of the Avengers, Master of Kung Fu, X-Men, Iron Man, and many of your favorite Marvels. And in my spare time, I write the Hulk. Over the past year, my assistant Jim Scalacrop and I have been working hard to make our Marvel Masterworks even better. Thank you, Jarvis. And our efforts have been most gratifying, and we hope you'll continue to read and enjoy our books in the future. That's weird. Oh, it's the Wasp. I thought it was Ant-Man. Duh. Okay, duh. Because the plans we have for our comics in the upcoming months are bigger and are bolder than ever. Honest, we're really burning the midnight oil to bring you the best in contemporary pictorial literature, and we have to. If we didn't, these guys would never let Jim and me loose. You know, there's Jim Scalacrop. He's got a ball and chain. Marvel Comics. Don't leave the store without them. So what they're goofing on is there was a super duper campaign by American Express. American Express, don't leave home without it. American Express, don't leave home without it. That commercial was everywhere back then, and it made its way into a spoof ad of Marvel Comics. Okay. So we got negative, boom, get back. So now we got a Project Pegasus shield agent just blasting Deathlock. Boom, look at that. No, get back. Activate self-destruct mode and continue the attack. Hold on. Oh no. Boom. Wendell sees what's coming. Get back. He's activated some sort of self-contained explosive device. I got to stop it. So boom. No matter what the goes. Yeah, well, he didn't give you much choice. Maybe we could still figure out what's running through his head. No. Terminate all functions. So he just, they just took out Deathlock. They just took him out. Hey, Pity Ma's here. Good to see you, Pity Ma. How's everything? Hell, have a good time at New York Comic Con. This was such a missed opportunity. The Mighty Marvel Flying Shield. They should have made it look like Captain America's shield. What kid wouldn't have wanted a frisbee that looked like Captain America's shield? Such a missed opportunity. I don't want that. So now again, Wendell Vaughn, Quasar, is a protector, a defender, rather than an aggressive hero. He's lamenting. I failed, Mr. Grimm. I failed to protect the project, and I failed to stop the taking of a life. Listen, kid, Deathlock wasn't alive anymore. Somebody got to him, dehumanized him. As for saving, well, maybe it's better off this way. Let's get out of here. And now, it's kind of weird. Like, just they go to another story. Like, what was Deathlock after? I don't know. Do you know? He was after stuff. And now we cut to a gym, and we got Thundra over here. Thundra's just being cool. I talked about this. I love this. The red and yellow is such a great superhero scheme. From the Flash, from Captain Marvel, to Thundra, to Doc Samson, and now the Go-Getter in my comics. I just love red and yellow. It's such a cool, look at these big Buccaneer boots. It's so good. So now they're wrestling. Who is she wrestling? Who am I? You are my opponent? Nice guess, Toots. Let's get it on. Has your training included armed combat as well? Put a sock on the chatter, sweetie, and let's just make with the moves. So here we got female superpowered wrestling. Sign me up. Sign me up. The comments are dead, so I will just continue. As you wish. A sly smile crosses Thundra's lips, and her opponent hits the mat. And the wrestling script goes out the window. I think I'll end this quickly. Ooh, my ribs. So look at Thundra. She's got, I don't know if you could tell, but she's got that, joyful lip expression. Submit now, and I'll continue sparing them. Refusing. What's she doing to Pound Cake? Pound Cakes. Pound Cakes. What a great name. Oh my God. That's one of the best names in all comic books. Pound Cakes. So Pound Cakes, they're a female wrestler. My word. Titana, Mimi, Letha, you know the procedure. Go get her. So these are all female. This is Screaming Mimi, who later becomes Songbird in the Thunderbolts. They were a goof on or an homage or a ripoff to the female Furies over in Jack Kirby's New Gods. You know, it's Big Bertha. That's Letha. I forget, and that's supposed to be Mad Harriet, and that's supposed to be whose name escapes me. You know, believe me, I'm terribly sorry about this, Mr. Oglethorpe. So Mr. Oglethorpe is a wrestling promoter. What are you feeding that Amazon? You know, boom, she's just throwing all the chicks out. You know, boom, boom, boom. And I love, look at the background. We got green, we got yellow, we got pink, we got blue, we got orange. Doesn't matter. Are you thinking it doesn't matter? And again, this is the kind of stuff that modern comic book fans, you know, on the internet, oh, the coloring doesn't even have a post. Don't back his comic. He's a tourist. You know, I hate that stuff. Anybody still watching? The comments are like absolutely dead. This could become a regular part of the workout, Mr. Oglethorpe, if you got the expense of placing mats on the walls. So she just shows you that these girls are just not in the same league as Thunder, as Thundra. Normally, I hate when there's an A at the end, like the Prowler or the Puncher. I hate that, but it works with Thundra. Maybe it's because I've seen it my whole life, but Thundra, you know. So we got this little plot going on, and now Deathlock was expendable. I only hope he completed his portion of the nth projector. So far, the fools here suspect little, allowing me to work as a simple cosmic energy researcher. Yeah, just a simple cosmic energy researcher. That's all he is. You know, if only they knew about my other little group that I work for, a group that will bury Project Pegasus. So this Dr. Leitner, he's been showing up for like 10 issues now as a mole inside the organization. And I love this. He's got a communicator, but it's in the shade. It's such a trope. Oh, you don't see the guy. It's such, you know, he must be a bad guy. And I love these contamination suits. You know, I have to wear these suits like this when I work with high voltage switches. You know, so they're so uncomfortable. They're so hot. Oh my God. And then we got, you know, Wendell Vaughn, Quasar over here, the Thing with a sling. We got these shield agents just carrying the remains of Deathlock. This is starting to feel like old home week, Foster. So now we got Bill Foster over here. Who's Bill Foster? I'll give you a second. I'll take a sip of coffee. See if any first person to name Bill Foster gets congratulated. That's good coffee. That's good coffee. That's Giant Man, Black Goliath. Now he's Giant Man, played by Lawrence Fishburne in the Ant-Man movie. Yeah, let's hope Project Pegasus has less problems than that one. We're lucky the specimen in a lead casket will contribute more in death than he ever did in life. He was called Atom Smasher. Oh, okay, so this is another person. This is Atom Smasher. I was mistaken. I thought that was the remains of Deathlock. You don't have to say it anymore. With Monica like that, we should have rolled out the red carpet for him. Indeed. You know, who could have ever conceived the one day that we'd probe the very energies of life itself for the answers to mankind's power problems? She's bad enough listening to read, but now I got to put up with Bill Foster, another egghead. So, you know, they start talking science, Ben starts tuning out. But this is what they're doing. They're probing, where does the energy for all of these superpowers come from? It's a brilliant concept. It's brilliant. I love that. And I know where they come from in Heroic Tales. Hours later, automatic light dimmers emulate evening in the compound as the elusive Dr. Leitner once again stalks the darkened halls. So now he's just roaming around doing mischievous things. Pegasus must be thrown into chaos. Random elements introduced to mask the true threat. And the first wild card awaits behind that door. Nuclo. So who is Nuclo? Nuclo is the child of the Wizard. What the hell is the Wizard's real name? The Wizard and Madeline Joyce, Miss America, and Bob Frank the Wizard. They got married, did the lovey-doveys, and because of their enhanced nature, they had this mutant child called Nuclo, who was, when he was born, it killed Miss America. In his grief, Bob Frank ran away. And when he came back, Bova kept Nucleo hidden because he was radioactive, everything like that, and said, "Yeah, your wife had twins. These are your kids, Wanda and Pedro. We named that we since you ran away, we put them in the care of this gypsy family." So he realized he was a jerk for running away. He said, "You know what? They're happy. They're happy. Let them stay." And then turns out that they weren't. Bova just wanted to. She didn't want him to recover Nucleo because he was a threat to everybody. And there you go. Big old convoluted story, but I love that stuff. I love that stuff. So we got Iron Fist and Luke Cage. Fantastic Four with Herbie the Robot. We got cupcakes. We got Twinkies. And in this particular boxes, they had baseball cards on the bottom of the box. Everybody collected baseball cards back then. You cut them out and you had like unique. So I wondered, does anybody have their Twinkies baseball cards? They got to be a collector's item. And yet, by pressing this button and raising the bars of the energy dampening crib, I may lower the final curtain on my own life. If this infant mind should see me as a captor, not a savior, my death is a certainty. Nuclear arise. Yes, that's it. You're free. And I have freed you to scream your atomic rage at those who imprisoned you. Oh, come, child, the hour of your destiny is at hand. So he's trying to rationalize, because Nucleo is another one with the mind of a child. He was basically raised in a cage. His brain never really formed, and he's he's like chemo from over at DC Comics. He's just this walking radioactive pile of horror and energy, and he's just like, this guy could kill me. If this goes wrong, I'm dead. But that's how committed I am to the cause. And what is the cause? We'll find out. So I love looking at the letters pages. We got Dennis Gessler, John Green, Dan Bailey, Douglas Mao, and Donna Royston. Can you explain how Tremlin had a knowledge of the Ancient One when he had been imprisoned on the shipwreck for almost 2 centuries? That's an easy one, Donna. The Ancient One was alive for nearly 6 centuries. The old boy had quite a rep, even 200 years ago. So next issue, you got that right. We got Giant Man, the Thing, fight Nucleo. And then we got Fun Factory ad. We got these Matchbox or Corgi cars. I had this one. I didn't have the Daily Planet helicopter, a cop, a Superman van, and the Daily Planet. Superman van makes me laugh. At least this one's got like punching stuff on it. But what does Superman need a van for? 23rd Century Odyssey now. Star Trek the Motion Picture. Coming this Christmas to a theater near you. There you go. The first, in my mind, still the best Star Trek movie. Yeah, I'm saying it. This was better than the Wrath of Khan, because the Wrath of Khan was an adventure movie. This was a philosophical exploration, which Star Trek is best at. So there you go. I'll put this over here. Let's check out the comments. All right, Torchbearer is here. How you doing? How's the thug doing? Bill Foster, his real name is William. Yes. Nobody ever gets cancer from these radioactive villains. Absolutely. It's funny, They goof on that every once in a while, because the Human Torch had a villain called the Asbestos Man, and they pretty much had him in the hospital dying of mesothelioma. Yeah, but yeah, nobody you don't get cancer from a radioactive spider. You get spider powers, I love the Corgi cars. I don't have any of the Superman cars, but I have a nice Batman collection. Oh, they didn't show the Batman. Oh yeah, they had a Batmobile, like a classic one. That's something I should look up. So there you go. That's Sunday Comics for the day. Been talking for an hour and 20 minutes. As usual, I'll close this down when the comments close down. So, it's up to you. So the sound, it sounds like I need to upgrade with the mic. I was told to do that a while ago, and I guess I can't put it off anymore. So is the sound unbearable, or is it like you're used to it? But yeah, I think it's time for a mic. 2 turntables and a microphone, because that's where it's at. So there you go. It looks like nobody's talking, so I guess I'll close this down. Thanks a lot. At this time, I usually tell you what I'm doing for the next week. So let's check out what I have scheduled for the week in my phone calendar. I got nothing. Absolutely nothing planned. So there you go. Just Friday, I'll be doing It's Clobbering Time with with Marcus, and we'll be doing manga versus comics. So East versus West. Change the settings back and it's fine. Okay, so you know what? Okay, let's do audio. How does that sound? Test, 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 test. What? No spoilers? I'm here for issue 2 spoilers. Test, how do I sound? I'm just filibustering. What geeks do? If you could respond, let me know. I changed the settings. How does that sound? How does that sound? Test, sounds good to me. Did it change at all? Did it change? Okay, I'm gonna change again. So this is another change. Okay, how does that sound? Is that better? How does that sound? Anything? Anything? I changed the settings again. There's 4 settings because I have 2 mics. So right now is a little better. I think because this mic. I think it's because of this mic. Let's see. Audio. Okay. Let's try this one. Okay, this is the last setting. How does this sound? How does this sound? Anything? Anything? Bueller? Bueller? Anybody? Anybody? You said, you see, this is it. Some people say it sounds better. Some people sounds worse. I don't know what to do. This sounds worse. This one sounds worse. Yeah, I figured this one would sound worse. Yeah. So does this one sound better? You see what geeks? So this is this mic right here, close to me. Does this sound the best? Does this sound the best? But I do agree. I think it's time for an actual microphone. Okay. The second one. See, I'm all confused. Some people saying it's better. Some people saying worse. I don't know if the lag is I'm reading it right. But I'm going to ask around about what's a good microphone. So there you go. All right. I'm going to go. You like this one? Does everybody agree that this setting is the best? Because that's this microphone on this camera, close to my big mouth. All right. Well, I'm going to close down. I'm kind of hungry. Going to go have some breakfast, and then it's off to write. I got to write. Right now, I'm in the middle of 3 scripts. I'm in the middle of the Patriarch #1. I keep having ideas to change things, so I go back and start all over again. I want to write the sleeper agent for Luke Stone, and I want to write the public eye for Marcus, and Stippling Vaughn is the other artist. He has a character. Okay, you want a spoiler? Here's a spoiler. Here's a spoiler. Pity Ma, you want a spoiler? I'm going to whisper it. Can you hear? Stippling Vaughn is going to work on a Revolutionary War colonial. Well, it's not colonial America. It's early America. It's working under the Articles of Confederation. A masked adventurer called the Printer's Devil. He's an apprentice printer, and situation occurs where he needs to disguise himself and go out. And I just think the Printer's Devil is such a cool name. You know, it's a legit term. It's an apprentice printer. So like he's working the Steve Gutenberg press. Something happens. He dons a mask, and he is now the Revolutionary War adventurer, the Printer's Devil. We'll see his origin. So there you go. These are all the things that I'm working on, and the public eye, the sleeper agent, and the Printer's Devil. I have no release schedule. It just sounds. I came up. The only story I'm having difficulty with is the public eye, because I somebody asked me about. Now you got me pontificating again. I was just about to end this, but somebody asked me, like, why? What do you do with the story? How do you write the story? Well, every story, I want to get some sort of information out there. You know, I'm like, okay, this story, the purpose of the story is to reveal this. You know, every story is like a little bit of a revelation. The only story that wasn't, well, I take it back, because the Patriarch story in the first issue of Heroic Tales, the only issue out right now, was originally just like oversaturated in lore, and I scaled back, and that was just introducing to my writing style, introduced to my characters, introducing to my world. So yes, it did reveal stuff. So yes, that suited my purpose. But I thought it was a little too light in what I wanted to do. But I also didn't want to chase people away. You know, you don't care about. And then the Lord of the Rings came down upon on high and said to the elf dwarven masters, who also, you know, you don't want to do that first because nobody cares yet. So I like to think that I drew people in. Maybe it was too light, but that was by design. But whatever. The suit, I wanted to reveal that guy who's a major player. And somebody says, when is the suit coming back? He's in issue. He's in issue 2. He's there. Maybe he's not doing the direct action. He's like a third string character, but he's omnipresent. He's the mayor of Science City, so he's always around. He's always going to be around. He's always, and he's got. I don't want to reveal, but there's some nasty stuff in his past. You know, once you sell your soul to the devil, you got some nasty stuff in your past. But he's charming. He's a smooth talker, and he's got like this magical charisma about him. You know. But anyway, anyway, I was talking about. I have this information that I want to get out in the public eye story. I just need to figure out how to get there. And I'm thinking maybe Regina Lopez investigates what she finds to be a crazy YouTube channel that the public eye is making. You know, I'm thinking that because that's the way it happened in the role-playing story. Whenever I play with Jimmy roleplay, he gives me, the player, a lot of leeway into coming up with the story. Whereas when I'm the GM, you got no leeway. It's, you know, like you could say like, oh, I have a cousin Phil. Okay, that kind of stuff. But you can't say I have a cousin Phil who invented the atomic bomb and he was a, you know what I mean? Like I'm pretty jerky as a DM. You know, it's my way or the highway kind of thing. But I don't do the Mr. Chew, if anybody knows what I'm talking about. But so I'm just trying to, I'm having, you know, I got an idea of the information that I want the public eye to reveal. I just need to come up with a path. You know, the water has to flow a certain way to get there. Once it gets there, so that's what I do. That's my writing process, is like, okay, this is the information that I want to reveal. This superhero will work best for it, you know, out of my stable of characters. And this is the path that I want to choose. 2 stories, whole cloth, came at me, you know, the sleeper agent and the, but I was thinking about the sleeper agent for a while. Like his whole purpose is to explain dreams and dream walking and how that works. So that's like, I got another character that's going to explain time travel, and I got another character that's going to explain the multiverse, you know, and the printer's devil. That's just a cool story. You know, it doesn't really explain the grand workings of the world, but it's just a cool, fun story. So that's a pure adventure story. And I really like that. So there you go. So these are other characters that I will be revealing in Heroic Tales. The Raven in Heroic Tales 2, that's just going to explore, do you really want a violent, scary vigilante in your town? And my hatred of the Joker. And Mary Sue is explaining the nature of superpowers. And the Patriarch is just, you know, oh no, time travel in the multiverse. Exactly. It's exactly. And you'll see how time travel works in issue 4 of Heroic Tales. You'll see how the multiverse works in issue. So that's my time travel multiverse issue. And the characters in that story are awesome. And no, I'm not spoiling their names yet. No, I'm not spoiling their name. The only person who knows their names is not in the chat right now. I think he's sleeping. So I'm going to close it down now because my stomach is growling. I don't know if the mic is good enough to pick up on that. But there was something else I wanted to bring up, and now I can't think of it. I don't know. I can't think of it. But why can't I think of it? Okay, I can't think of it. There was something else I wanted to bring up. But anyway, I'm going to close down because I am really, really hungry, and I'll see you guys. I'll be back on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I just don't know what I'm going to be doing yet. Maybe I'll do those letters that I've been saving for a day that I didn't have a guest. But thanks a lot. I'll see you. Bye bye.